Hi, welcome to this demo of Spectrum Protect version 8.1.11. I'm going to be demoing how to use the Operations Center to add additional members to retention rules. And this will include clients and file spaces that you can add using pattern matching as well as node groups. So we introduced the ability to create retention rules previously, but originally you could only add backup archive clients by name and the VMs by name and pattern. So we've updated that now to include file spaces, node groups, and clients with pattern matching. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and show you how you can modify an existing retention rule. Now you could also do this with a new retention rule, and I'll show you how to add in these new pieces as well as how to delete them off. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. From the Spectrum Protect Operations Center overview page, go to Services and then click on Retention Rules. This brings up a list of our existing retention rules. You could click on Create Rule to create a new rule and use these pattern matching capabilities when you created that. But in our case, we're going to edit an existing rule. So we're going to select Fusion Monthly All. By double-clicking on that, that'll take us to the Properties page. You can see that this rule already has individual clients and some VM name patterns added to it. We're going to modify that. Modifying this rule will only impact future retention sets. So the first thing we're going to do is add some new clients. So click on plus add. And in the drop-down, you'll see that there now is listed individual clients, node groups, VM name patterns, client name patterns, and file space name patterns. The individual clients and VM name patterns were there in previous versions. The other pieces are new. So let's first choose individual clients. This will show you all the client names and file spaces that are defined to this Spectrum Protect server that are not already in this retention rule. One thing to notice underneath the file space node for these clients is if all the file spaces is listed, that means that no individual file spaces were selected specifically for this client, and so by default we're selecting all of them. This is in contrast to where you see specific file space names. And in that case, we know that a specific file space is being backed up for a specific client. So let's select a few clients, some that have all the file spaces selected, and a few that are specifically individual client file spaces. At the bottom, we're going to choose Add Clients. Now in the right-hand side, you can either filter or sort on one of the headers to see the clients that we just added to this retention rule. If you want to remove one of these clients from a retention rule, on the left-hand side, you first of all need to choose how that client was added. Was it added as an individual client or a VM name pattern? And then that will show all of the clients that are underneath that specific rule. So we're going to choose individual client. And now we can go to the right-hand side of this chart and choose the individual clients that we want to remove. Now you can select Remove Clients at the top of the right-hand side. You'll get a warning stating that removing these will remove them from future retention sets. Go ahead and click Remove. Do note, for instance, that if you clicked on this VM name pattern and found the matching nodes on the right-hand side, you cannot click on that node and remove that specific client. Instead, you have to remove the pattern that selected that client originally. So you would select the pattern on the left and then click Remove Pattern on the left-hand side there. Okay, let's go ahead and click Add again, and this time we're going to choose to add a node group. So we choose the node group from all available node groups out there. Now notice if you hover above the members of the node group, it will show you the list. In fact, if it can't show the entire list on the screen, if you hover over it, it'll show in a pop-up. So we're going to go ahead and select client group 1 and then click on add node group below. Notice on the right hand side we now see the client group as part of the nodes that will be included in the retention set. Do notice the icon next to that. That's the icon showing this is a node group. And also notice if you hover above it, you'll see the entire list of clients that will pick up for that retention rule. If you wanted to remove a node group, first of all, on the left-hand side, you would choose node groups. And then on the right-hand side, you would select the node group you want to delete, and then click on the remove clients in the upper right. Once again, you'll get a warning that these clients will no longer be included in the retention rule. Go ahead and confirm. For the next case, let's click on add, and this time let's choose the client name pattern. This is going to allow us to match on wildcards, and we can use either the asterisk, which will match all characters, or the question mark, which will match a single character. So on the pop-up, you're going to enter the pattern for the nodes. Now do realize that this pattern will not just apply to existing nodes, but if in the future you add in nodes to your Spectrum Protect server and those node names match this pattern, then they will be included in this retention set because they match this retention rule. So here I've matched all of the clients that start with CDP plus by entering a CDP plus and then the splat sign or asterisk, and that gives us a match of 12 clients that are currently defined, and then any in the future that are defined could also match that. Click on add client pattern. I now see that name pattern listed on the left hand side. Let's go ahead and add in one more pattern. So click on plus add, choose to do client name pattern, and this time enter CDP underscore splat or asterisk. Click show matches, and you'll see that this time there are 13 matches. So go ahead and click on add client pattern. And now on the left hand side, you'll see that there are two patterns showing up underneath the client name pattern. If we wanted to delete one of these patterns, on the left hand side you would select the pattern, and you'll notice that on the right hand side that'll show you the pattern matched clients that correlate to that pattern. Notice if you try and select a pattern matched client on the right hand side, you're unable to select a pattern matched client. However, if you select the rule on the left hand side, you can then choose to select remove pattern on the upper left, and that will delete off the pattern and the associated clients from that retention rule. Once again, you get the warning, go ahead and click OK, and now you'll see we only have one pattern out there. This time we're going to add a file space name pattern, and we're going to use an individual question mark to match a single character. You must choose a file space owner, so we're going to choose Fusion underscore Unix 2. For the file space name pattern, we're going to enter /data question mark. And so this will match any existing or any future file spaces that are called data followed by one single character. So currently you can see we have a single file space called /data1, and in the future there might be additional ones that get matched to this pattern. So at that point, we're going to go ahead and click Add File Space Pattern. On the left-hand side, you now see that we do have a file space pattern listed with the parameters we just entered. Okay, with that, we're going to go ahead and save these changes that we've made to this retention rule by clicking on the Save button. You will see a message coming up saying that our changes were successfully saved, and at that point you can go ahead and click Close. So in summary, I've showed you how you can now modify retention rules and add in members to that retention rule. You can either add them in as individual clients, node groups, VM name patterns, client name patterns, or file space name patterns. I also showed you how you can go about removing the entities from the retention rule and how to save the modified retention rule. Thank you very much.